But you said it's you and Joshua here. Now, is this fight done? What are we talking about?
You know, it's going to happen. Like, seriously, it's going to happen. We were talking with Turkey tonight, negotiations live in person.
Former world champion, he's now being talked about as an opponent for Anthony Joshua. Can that fight happen?
I think the fight can absolutely happen. I'm looking at it as Jake versus Joshua, which is quite biblical and it's quite impactful in many ways.
Reports confirm that a blockbuster clash between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua is in serious negotiations, with a potential fight date locked in for January 2026. Jake Paul's manager, Nakisa Bidarian, has confirmed that talks with Joshua's camp and promoter Eddie Hearn have officially begun. Meanwhile, Saudi boxing heavyweight Turki Alalshik is reportedly backing the event, adding major financial weight to the proposal. Possible venues being considered include Wembley Stadium, several U.S. locations, and high-profile sites across the Middle East.
In terms of those active discussions, how far have things progressed? Is it something that you can see happening next for Jake and for AJ?
I think we're looking at it happening in Q1 of 2026 is kind of the current discussion. I think it's public that AJ was taking a little time away and get a little surgery. So once he's ready and once Jake is ready, we're going to squarely focus on that.
Some concerns, aren't there, within the boxing world about Jake fighting someone as powerful as AJ. How much of a worry is that? We saw what he did to Ngannou.
So power is obviously the last thing to go. So obviously AJ has a ton of power and he's still fairly young.
Coming off his recent victory over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Jake Paul has dropped a major hint about the fight, saying a bout with Joshua is very likely for next year. According to Paul, he and Joshua have already exchanged messages, with Joshua suggesting a potential late 2025 setup, leading to a full-scale showdown in early 2026. Bidarian echoed the optimism, calling the developing matchup a biblical event in the making.
Now, I know you're after a world title, but if that doesn't materialize, I know the Tommy Fury name has been floated about. Is there any other fighters who may not be world champions that you're looking to face?
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Joshua.
I think that's the main one that, we've talked a lot about is if it's not for the title, it's looking at Tommy, if he's reasonable, and then Anthony Joshua. And he's adamant that he wants to make that fight happen at the end of 2026.
Anything's possible. And so I like the challenge. People, that's the criticism. Fight someone in their prime who's a beast. I think people just want to see me lose. That's really what the message is behind it all. And Anthony Joshua is an insane fight, but I want that challenge. We've been DMing back and forth. He wants to make it happen. He called me up, and it's looking very likely for next year.
Jake Paul isn't just talking, he's pressing forward. Following his win over Chavez Jr., Paul directly called out Anthony Joshua during his podcast and doubled down afterward, making it clear that Joshua is his next target. With rising momentum behind him, Paul is aiming to disrupt the heavyweight hierarchy and prove that he's more than just a crossover attraction.
I want to fight Anthony Joshua exclusive because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua. I know I will beat. Knocked out, right? Yeah. He doesn't have a chin and he has no skill and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends. But I want to fight you. I will beat Canelo. I will beat a lot of people. I will not beat David Benavidez.
Paul argues that his proposed fight with Joshua is bigger than just two names. It's about energizing the sport. He claims to bring a fresh wave of excitement, citing the attention and younger audience he draws to boxing. Paul also insists that legends like Joshua, Tyson Fury, and Manny Pacquiao recognize the value he brings, believing his presence injects new life into a sport that, according to him, needs a spa.
But you said it's you and Joshua here. Now, is this fight done? What are we talking about?
You know, it's going to happen. Like, seriously, it's going to happen. We were talking with Turkey tonight, negotiations live in person, which are always fun. But it's going to happen, and it's just such an exciting fight that crosses the whole globe. When you ask a lot of people about certain boxers, they don't know their names. And everywhere I've been going, I just talk about Anthony, and I don't have, I'm global, so it's just such a good fight for the sport of boxing, and people will think I will die, but I will show them why I can rise against all odds and beat him.
Everyone's been wanting to see happen. Who will be the king of the United Kingdom? And who will be the queen of the United... Too soon?
I'm praying that boxing doesn't happen to this fight, and what I mean by that is politics. People trying to take more money than they deserve. Fuck the money, get in there, make fucking history. This is one of the biggest fights that could happen over this past decade. Make it fucking happen, Eddie Hearn. Make it fucking happen, Frank Warren. Make it happen, Tyson. Make it happen, Anthony Joshua. We don't need fucking excuses. Don't let boxing ruin this fight. Get in the fucking ring and fight like men.
Promoter Eddie Hearn has confirmed that serious discussions are indeed underway for a potential Paul vs. Joshua clash in early 2026. Joshua is expected to return to training by the end of 2025 after undergoing elbow surgery. With Saudi powerhouse Turki Al-Sheikh showing interest in hosting the bout, the chances of this massive crossover event becoming reality continue to rise.
The discussions with AJ are as follows. We will be ready to fight November, December. We are planning life without Jake Paul. But if that is for real, of course, we take that fight in a heartbeat. I don't just think Jake's doing it just purely for publicity, but at the same time, will he actually do it? We'll find out soon, but we're up for it. But we can't just live in the world of waiting for Jake Paul. So we're going to fight December, maybe early January.
While Hearn sees the financial appeal of the matchup, he's not mincing words. He's issued a stern warning to Jake Paul: stepping into the ring with a top-tier heavyweight like Joshua is no joke. Despite Paul's growing profile, Hearn stressed that the level of danger is real and not something to take lightly.
Jake Paul could last 3 rounds with Anthony Joshua. 3, 2, 1. You've seen he's called him out, presumably.
Yeah, in 2026. I mean, that's like me saying I'm going to go for the gold at the 2028 Olympics for surfing. It's clickbait, but he might just be mad enough to have a go. It's very dangerous, very dangerous. I mean, you saw a guy who has the same size as AJ and who has much more ability than Jake Paul, which is Francis Ngannou. And you saw what happened to him, and that was scary for a while. So, yeah, we can joke about it, but I don't recommend it for Mr. Paul.
I like Jake. He's a good promoter, very good promoter, and he's a funny guy. He's got a great sense of humour, got good people around him, the key, so they know their business. There's a massive weight disparity, and that's a tough thing to give away, especially with somebody who's got so much physical advantage over him, and he's a young guy. AJ, he's not an old guy, he's a young guy. Will it happen? Who knows? Anything happens sometimes in our sport. But I think that is a big ask of Jake beating him. Big ask.
Where are you on this nonsense?
Where am I? I can't see it happening. I can't. Although yes, lots of money, so on and so forth. I can't see it. I just can't. It just obviously as someone who's been a unified heavyweight world champion going in against Jake, it just doesn't. Yeah, and it's like I'm also talking from a health and safety factor. It's like he's maybe a cruiserweight.
Yeah.
Anthony Joshua's a very big, strong heavyweight, and if he turns it on, it's not just a risk of a knockout. It's a much bigger risk. So I can't see it. Personally, but it's good talking point, I guess.
Addressing Tyson Fury's recent comments on the fight, Eddie Hearn acknowledged the hype but dismissed the idea that it's a competitive matchup. In a candid statement, he clarified that while the bout may be 50-50 from a promotional angle, there's nothing evenly matched about it once the gloves are on. Hearn's message is clear: this is big business, but not a balanced fight.
He's been with AJ and Frank Bruno up there, the past, the current of it. So you're in now, son. You're in the deep end, and he's a good kid and a great fighter. I'm sure people are going to love being part of the journey.
Yeah, I know you're in a bit of a rush there, so I'll move on to Tyson Fury. Are you shocked that Tyson Fury and Anthony's going to come back to ring? And did you expect him to want Usyk rather than AJ?
I think that he's always going to want to avenge a defeat. I mean, look, he feels that he won both of those fights. You know, I thought they were very close. Don't think he won them, but you know, maybe he does fight Usyk again. We he can't control what Fury does. I gave up trying to do that years ago. You've seen from the response online, no one's really interested in Fury against Usyk 3, and everyone wants the AJ fight. But the minute I come out and start saying this and saying that, it probably rolls us back. So what I'm going to say is good luck, Tyson Fury. Do whatever you want to do. Hopefully it involves giving the public the biggest fight the country's ever had.
Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua, 50-50 fight. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I just said in another interview, great if it is. I mean, if it is, then you've got no problem seeing it. But when AJ, I mean, decapitate's a strong word, but you know, when he renders Jake Paul unconscious like he did to Francis Ngannou, don't then say, oh well, it was Jake Paul. Do you know what I mean? I mean, when AJ beat Francis Ngannou, Ngannou just had a fight that could have gone either way with Tyson Fury. Then AJ poleaxed him, and everyone just said he's just an MMA fighter. Do you know what I mean? Jake Paul's not Francis Ngannou. But as I said before, if you want to see Jake Paul exit the boxing world, make the fight.
Last one, what next for Dave Allen?
Well, Dave Allen's been an incredible project the last couple of months. I mean, look, we've been talking to Deontay Wilder, we've been talking to Joseph Parker.
Former WBC cruiserweight champion Tony Bellew didn't hold back, calling the proposed Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight dangerously insane. His biggest concern? The massive size and power difference between the two fighters, something he believes could pose serious safety risks.
It's a possibility to happen.
Yeah, it's a possibility that it's a possibility an alien might just land on this fucking grass now. It's a possibility.
Listen, I'm not saying the outcome of the fight, but there's a possibility that this fight could happen, isn't it?
Said the word fight in the same sentence said Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua. This is a guy who was on the Disney Channel, made his name big from the Disney Channel. And I haven't really slated this guy because I think he's doing, some of the things he's doing for boxing is brilliant. His job he's doing with the women is fantastic. I went into a gym the week before he fights Tommy Fury and there was 200 kids in the gym on a Tuesday night. Kids, he's a big part of that, give him all the credit in the world. But in the same sentence, he's fought one live boxer in his career, and he lost. What would you say if I put Tommy Fury in with Anthony Joshua?
Jake Paul's promoter, Nakisa Bidarian, responded to concerns about the size gap. He downplayed the weight difference. Paul typically walks around at 210 to 215 pounds, while Joshua often tips the scales near 252. Bidarian argued that Paul's physical growth, strength, and experience, especially after facing opponents like Mike Tyson, make the matchup more competitive than it seems. Still, across the boxing world, many fighters, trainers, and analysts have expressed concern not just about safety, but also about the legitimacy and integrity of such a spectacle. While some acknowledge the commercial appeal, few see it as a credible contest.
Don't put it past Jake Paul. Anthony Joshua, as much as he's a monster, he's got a weak mind, hasn't he? So Jake could end up getting into it because Jake's got everyone eating out the palm of his hand. He's a very clever man. So
you really think he's got a chance?
Why wouldn't he have a chance with how confident he is? Right? Come on. Like, Anthony would have all the pressure in the world, and if Anthony didn't do him with the first few punches, he'd start doubting himself in his head because that's what he does. But no, Anthony should win, shouldn't he?
What do you make of Tyson Fury saying that he's going to put $1 million bet on Jake winning by knockout?
Tyson to leg it, lad. He's retired about 50 times. What's he on about, mate? Just tell him to leg it, and I'd love him. If he walked in here, I'd obviously...
At one point you were good friends.
We're good friends, but obviously if he walked in here, I'd act like I'm not talking about him, but then on the camera I'm talking, you know? Is this not what we're on? Is everyone not fake, or no? We all... What are we on here? Are we all acting like we don't hate each other? Like, come on. Like what?
You're on absolute smoke today.
Tyson, shut your trap.
John Fury, the outspoken father of Tyson Fury, gave a fiery take on the matchup, saying bluntly that if Anthony Joshua doesn't knock Jake Paul out easily, the fight must be rigged. He firmly believes Joshua's power and experience make any other outcome impossible. Meanwhile, Tyson Fury took a drastically different stance, claiming he would bet £1 million on Jake Paul to knock out Joshua, calling it a true 50-50 fight. This bold claim stirred debate across the boxing world. Jake Paul, unfazed, upped the ante by saying he'd match that bet tenfold, with £10 million on himself to win.
There's been some talk about possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's a spent force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. And I like his new heavyweight look. Bit chubby, bit bulky. Getting there. Protected. And he just done a great job over the aging Chavez Jr., who was a middleweight, but still. Sure. Yeah. I like how Jake Paul calls out the full spectrum from featherweight to heavyweight. Do you know what I mean? Who did he call out? Tank Williams and Joshua. That's just crazy. That's what you call Richter scale call-outs.
Richter scale, I like that.
Simon Jordan voiced strong opposition to the idea of Joshua fighting Jake Paul. He argued that despite Joshua's ups and downs, he remains a legitimate world champion, and entertaining a crossover bout with a YouTuber turned boxer undermines his legacy. Jordan warned that such a matchup adds nothing to the sport's credibility and could even hurt its image.
As a boxing purist, it doesn't sit well, but as a normal working class lad, I've been asked by builders, would you fight Jake Paul for £5 million? I never got £5 million for fighting anyone else in a fight, so it's the silliest question in the world. I've been retired 7 years, I'm still very confident. If you give me 3 weeks to get off the couch, I'll probably still beat him with one hand. He's not a good fighter, so it's not even being disrespectful to him. As a YouTuber, as a presenter in what he does, it blows me out the water. That's his line of work, but he's stepping into boxing another profession. Now, to call Alexa Canelo out, I think is disrespectful. To call Joshua out is lunacy, but we know why it's happening and why he does it.
Forget Jake Paul.
Forget Jake Paul.
I mean, Jake Paul's going to do what Jake Paul does, but Anthony Joshua, and with respect to you and what you did and didn't earn in your career, Anthony Joshua is out at King's ransom. Yeah. So he doesn't need to be fiddle with this, does he?
No, he doesn't, but again, all I keep seeing from people out there is, when is enough, and I get that, but when you're retired at 33, 34, and you've got to make that last now, you've got more experience than me in this theatre, with a lot of footballers in the past as well, and business people who have to make a certain amount of budget last. It's the easiest money you'll probably ever make.
On the Joe Rogan Experience, Joe Rogan weighed in with some skepticism. He questioned Paul's decision to delay the fight until 2026, joking, "Jake wants to fight Anthony Joshua, but not now." He says, "Let's wait 2 years." Rogan sarcastically suggested that Paul might be planning to bulk up artificially instead of improving his skills, highlighting doubts about the seriousness of Paul's intentions.
They're talking right now about doing Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul.
I know, I saw that.
Jake Paul apparently wants that fight.
Yeah, that fight's not competitive at all.
Well, it's a dangerous fight.
Yeah.
Because Joshua's going to try to make an example out of him, for sure.
And will.
I mean, Anthony Joshua's one of the biggest one-punch KO artists. What he did to Francis Ngannou, good lord.
Yes.
Do you want that smoke?
Yes.
I mean, he's a one-punch, night-night guy.
Veteran heavyweight Derek Chisora slammed the idea of Jake Paul earning a WBC ranking, calling it a disgrace. Chisora argued that professional fighters spend years grinding through tough bouts to earn those spots, while Paul is being rewarded for fame, not merit. He went so far as to accuse WBC President Mauricio Suleiman of compromising the sport's integrity for financial gain, stating flatly, "It's unfair. It's a disgrace to boxing."
The WBC have said they're going to give a cruiserweight ranking to the winner of this fight. Do you think they deserve one?
No, I don't think so. I don't know why. It's hard enough for real athletes, for real boxers, to get those rankings, and then suddenly this Solomon Tuesday decides to give double ranking because he's getting some greens in his back pocket. No, that is disgrace to boxing.
Former world champion George Groves echoed similar sentiments, firmly dismissing the notion of Joshua fighting Paul. He said such a matchup offers no athletic merit and called it low risk, low legacy. Groves insisted Joshua should only be taking meaningful fights, suggesting a bout with Tyson Fury would be far more appropriate. Fan reaction has mirrored that frustration, with many mocking the proposed fight as a comedy event. Some have even gone so far as to say, Jake Paul is cancer to boxing. The consensus, Joshua's legacy should be defined by top-tier competition, not novelty matchups.
This is probably the state of heavyweight boxing. They have to bring Jake Paul into the ring to face off one of the greatest heavyweights of all time.
He's already scheduled to face Anthony Joshua, which would be a major step up.
Tyson Fury said, I genuinely think Jake Paul knocks out Anthony Joshua, which is actually crazy.
But what did John Fury say?
Anthony Joshua could knock Jake Paul.
If you saw what Anthony Joshua did to Francis Ngannou, who's not a boxer, absolutely flatlined him, right? You think a Canelo versus Crawford will do numbers? Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua would break numbers. It'll probably be on Netflix. You'll see. Is Jake Paul a real boxer? Can he compete in heavyweight against Anthony Joshua? The world of boxing is crazy right now.
To go from Nate Robinson, 5'7" guard that played in the NBA, to Anthony Joshua, you would never have picked it ever.
Jake Paul, you've lost your mind if you think you can go toe-to-toe with Anthony Joshua. Listen, let's not get confused, guys. Let's not get confused. Yes, cool. Anthony took a big L with Daniel Dubois, but Daniel Dubois is not no joke, bro. It's not a joke. You know what I'm trying to say? He took an L there, but Jake Paul, I've got the utmost respect of what he's done, how he's managed to navigate through the boxing world. Like, bro, it's so mad. And I can see this is like a 90%, it's happening, it's positioning, it's marketing already. Like, why would you see Jake Paul go face to face with Alexander Usyk if it's not to position for a fight for Saudi? Obviously, Jake Paul's gonna fight Anthony Joshua. There's possibly gonna be a Usyk against Tyson Fury 3, because obviously the last two were so close. But you never know. It can also be a Usyk against Derek Chisora. You know what I mean? You never know.
So what do you think? Does Jake Paul deserve a WBC ranking, or is it damaging the credibility of the sport? And would a fight with Paul help or hurt Anthony Joshua's legacy? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear from you.